I'm gonna wing it. I'm gonna go alone. Oh, oh, oh,
Oh, oh!
oh! There
Wait,
she is.
got to turn it round.
We did it.
Hello! We
Goodness
finally
me.
got there.
That was a challenge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, as I was saying, the title is now missing because I just went live and pressed the button. So we'll just have to re-explain everything. But so yeah, we're doing the After the Rain anthology for Hopefull Handbags. I am also Karen Sanders editing. For those who don't know, try to keep it secret, but it's not a very well kept secret at this point. So I own the Right Here, Right Now community under my editing kind of brand. So we put the anthology together because I love a fundraising anthology. I love to help. Fundraising is something I've done for quite some time. I used to but volunteer for Cats Protection back in Devon, and I did their fundraising. So this is good for me. Loving the fundraising stuff, and I thought this would be a really good, like a different thing to support, and a really important cause too. So for this anthology, Claire and I decided to team up because why not? We wanted to try something a bit different. So the theme for the anthology is life after loss. And while that does lend some very obvious things to do, we decided to take it down a different route. So Claire, do you want to tell us a bit about, or tell everyone a bit about our story?
It starts with a mother who's now adult child decides to leave home to go to university. And it's basically how she feels about being left on her own after raising him on her own, and the friendship that helped her through motherhood. So they decide to let loose and go and have a few drinks, drown their sorrows, and they reminisce about being teenagers and a time capsule that they buried. And then by the end of the night, they're so drunk that they decide they're going to go and bury, get it, go and find it. But,
yeah, so there's
hilarity ensued. Why the hell not?
So the life after loss being the theme, we kind of went twofold on it because the loss obviously is the son leaving home. So that's Catherine's son. He was leaving home for the first time, and Catherine had him very young. She was 15, wasn't she, when she had him? So it's kind of a big deal. Like motherhood has pretty much been all she's known for most of her life, really. And so there's that loss of obviously the child leaving home, but also the loss of this time capsule that they'd completely forgotten about until a comment was made whilst they were talking. They're like, oh my God, remember that thing we did? But unfortunately, the time capsule is not quite where they thought it was. And yeah, it's just a fun feel-good thing because the reason behind the fundraising is quite a serious one. So we decided to go down the comedy route, which is something new. You've not done comedy before, have you either?
No. First time for me.
Yeah. So we kind of made a girl buddy comedy to keep things entertaining. And
yes, two drunk women. What could go wrong?
Right. And also, what I loved writing about it was the friendship between the two, because it's very clear very early on how close they are. It's not just like they're just kind of like surface friends. Like it's deep. It's a deep friendship.
Yeah.
And they've known each other a very long time.
And her son classes the best friend as his second mom, so that should tell you just how close they are.
Yeah. I mean, both of us, I think, when we write our books, we come at them from an angle of, okay, there might be a lighter side, but there's always a serious underlying thing. I mean, Claire, your books are always quite on the dark side anyway. I'm a bit fluffier than you.
So you're definitely a bit fluffier than me.
So it's very different for us, but we wanted to have something that was good fun, but also that did have something serious. And I mean, I am not a mother, but Claire, you have older children who have now left home. So for you, that must have been an interesting look into those feelings again.
Yeah, definitely. I almost lost my mind when my son left home. So So I've reflected on that.
Yeah, it's very hard, and like empty nest is a thing. Like
Yes.
it's a thing.
Oh,
I
yes,
know you still
definitely.
have one. You still have one clinging on. But,
Yes. One's still at home, thankfully.
so far so good.
So far, so good,
But
yes.
it's an interesting topic to explore because you know, for me, you wrote the mother and I wrote the loopy best friend who's having marital issues with her husband. And the potential for a longer story is there, and there may have been a cover made, but we're not talking about that just yet.
Not just yet.
But I think for me and you, because obviously we know each other so well, and both of us, I've co-written before. I don't think you have before.
No.
So this was. So tell us about that experience. Like, how did it feel to write with someone else?
I mean, the dynamic of us writing together was easy because we took a chapter each. So
Yeah.
it's not like we were in each other's chapter, so to
Yeah.
speak. So it was pretty much just like writing a book for me, because I'd write a chapter, then I'd have to read your chapter to then write the next one.
Yeah.
So it was pretty easy because it wasn't like I had to wait for you to write like the next line and then I'd write the next line. It was because it was structured chapter based. I I find it easier to write that than some of the books I'm actually writing at the minute. So
It
go
helps
figure.
take the pressure off, I think, as well, doesn't it? Because you're like, if you get stuck, then someone else can take over and kind of fill in that gap and then move on.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but is it an experience you would like to repeat at some point? Like, do you think you would do more co-writes with other people?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If anything, because I'd only have to write half the book. So
I mean, it's a
I
bonus,
mean,
right?
yes. Yes.
um, when you first heard that we were setting up the anthology, what was the thing that made you want to join in? Did you have was there a specific reason that made you want to join in, or is it just like, no, I love an anthology, let's go?
Well, I came from a home with domestic abuse in the home. So for me, it was sort of giving back to a charity that helps that side of things.
Yeah.
Obviously, my first book is about domestic violence, so it's not a topic I'm not familiar with. But I loved the idea of not focusing on actual abuse, because obviously, if the people who buy it are affected by that, you don't want to then bring up all the feelings of when they went through that. So
Yeah.
the idea of making it like after loss, that intrigued me. I wanted it to be quite a happy, uplifting story anyway. And I had a couple of ideas, but when you suggested co-write, I was like all over it.